Tell us a little bit more about yourself, those of us who don't know you.
Great. Well, it is kind of weird to be introduced as a partner, but as I look around this room with the friends in this room and the people that I respect so much in this room, it is a privilege to get to partner with you in this room and with the campus ministry. And we are launching Crew in the City this fall, 2012, in 6 beta locations, cities around this nation, working with 22 to 32-year-olds as they walk through the swamp years of figuring out how to continue to live a kingdom-centered life on mission. And for Meg and I, my wife Meg and I, we don't know which city we'll be moving to yet. There could be a few more beta cities that come into the picture, and people like us praying about different locations. But and even though we don't know the location, what we do know is that we were floored by the opportunity of the equipped, experienced, multiplying sent ones that we send out year after year after year, and getting to work with those people. And we're not leaving the campus ministry because we feel old and out of touch, or we feel burnt out on it, or we feel we just want a new challenge. We are jumping into this new initiative because we believe the campus ministry is so darn strategic, and that we want to be a part, one little part of leveraging the campus ministry in a totally different way. And it is with mobilizing people after they graduate, like we were talking about this afternoon. And as one person of several from the campus ministry doing this venture, we look forward to partnering.
Well, David, tell us practically, just for our sake, how is it that connection's made? How can you help us, help our students as they launch into the cities, get connected with you?
Well, as we think about launching this initiative, at first, we are going to go about the city in a totally different, holistic way. We're going to approach the city and Crew in the City. We're one little part, one component of a different way that we will integrate and approach the city in platforming Crew in the City. One will be with influentials, helping them radically take ownership over their their platform and stewarding the platform God's given them for kingdom purposes. The second is for reaching the underserved, that we would tap into God's heart to serve the underserved and show kindness and goodness to the underserved. The third component is the freshmen of the city that Meg and I are jumping in on, and as some of you know, people that are jumping in on, and that is the Mosaic generation, millennial generation, stewarding the fruit of the U.S. campus ministry, and the privilege we have to jump in on that. The fourth component is a little different because it's not an audience, but it's a convening component where really we want to play a part in the body of Christ of gathering and networking and convening different people together within Crew and outside of Crew, so that your recent grads, our recent grads, they get sent out and we can convene with an influential and hook them up with an influential as a coach that's using this stewardship platform and living it out, so that a recent grad could be connected with ministering to the underserved as they move to a city and are connecting with those types of people and seeing that in their daily reality, that they could take believers and unbelievers to go serve the underserved and live missionally, helping people belong before they believe with even their peers that they live with. And then the fifth component is an international component, and Crew is not Crew without a global purview. And so just as in the campus space, that in this new missional space of the city, that we will be giving people, on campus that have WSN to connect them to global opportunities, that we will have unique opportunities to connect them to these recent grads, to continue to connect them to the world. But when I think about how practically this will work out, it's going to look different in every city. Each city brings its own unique challenges and cultures and needs. But what I do know is I was faced with it again 2 weeks ago. I was here in Orlando at Bob and Barbara Francis's daughter's wedding, which was great. And I got to see Brad, and I worked with Brad at the University of Georgia when I was an MTL there. And Brad was one of our stud leaders. He was a fraternity president. He was a student government leader. He led over a dozen people to Christ in his fraternity, and he and this one other guy were a small little missional team to their fraternity house, and left an amazing legacy. He went on 2 projects, summer projects. He was a student leader on a project after the staff left. And he was even a part of a 100% Sent Southeast working group that we had about 4 years ago to kind of figure out how do we change our culture. He was one of 2 students on that working group with some staff. If anyone was prepared to be a sent one, it was Brad. And so catching up with Brad, he has not fallen off a cliff, but he started just expressing some of the realities in his 3 years out of college. And I was like, man, I gotta get my phone out. This is too motivating. This is totally what we're seeking to do with Crew in the city. And the first word picture that he kind of threw out, he said, I just feel like I've been swimming upstream, and that, I just, in abiding with Jesus in this new place, with all these different time constraints of work and living amongst where we're living in downtown, I just am overwhelmed. I feel severed from the vine. I'm not living in sin. I'm connected with a great small group in church. I just feel like I need someone to lift, it was his words, lift my eyes so I don't settle. And I just said, Brad, that's what you want, that's what you need. That is so motivating to me. That is precisely what we're going to be doing with Crew in the city, is being there on the ground, helping people not settle amongst the transition. And then he went on and he started talking like, David, I just want people that don't just want to stand still amongst the current, but want to swim upstream against the current and live missional, not just gathering a group of believers to encourage one another, but will engage in the mission. And he so desired people that he could be in it together with like-minded people. And I was just like, okay, yeah, in our beta cities, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about being, especially for Crew students, being a watering hole, being a base camp, so that when people move to the city, they have people who talk their language. They have people that know how they are equipped and value how they are equipped, because we come from it. And we can help connect them to other people and give them the opportunities to connect with each other and be in it together with someone else. And then the last thing he said, which struck me the most, what he said, I just have become timid. And here I am talking to this confident, one of the most confident student leaders I've ever worked with. It's like I'm timid in my faith. And I don't know if I'm ever going to live on the edge of my faith like I did in college. And I was like, oh, Brad, we want to be there to help coach people like you, to help you come up with your intentional next step. It doesn't even have to be grand, but be there on the ground in the city with you, experiencing those realities with you, to help you take your next intentional steps. And he was like, oh man, David, it would have made all the difference in the world. And so when I think about the Brads out there that we will graduate this coming May and year after year, I mean, we know the reality that there is no cookie cutter strategy. This will not be simple. Every person's transition is different. But we do look forward to being positioned in a place where we can mobilize these people to continue to be surrendered, to continue to be sent ones, to continue to be mobilized and being transformed and helping to transform their city. And as one of the people taking the step of faith to start this thing up, several in this room and beyond, I just simply say thanks for trusting God with us and being in it with us. Thanks for partnering even before we even start. And I just say thanks for trusting us. And we look forward to serving the campus ministry.
Great, thank you. Dave, really quick, before you step down, where are we going to find you? Where do our students find Crew in the City?
Right now, you will get information on this later. You can just Crew in the City at ccci.org, and we have people that can get you in touch with specific locations.
Great, thanks, Dave.
Great, thanks.
All right, give Dave a hand.